Welcome to the TableMaster Fusion Cabinet Assembly Training video. The purpose of the following video is to train you, our field service personnel, in the proper way to assemble the TableMaster Fusion cabinet in the field. The video will show exactly how the TableMaster Fusion cabinet and major video components will arrive to the property. The video will point out important first steps in verifying serial tag and LCD part numbers. Schematic drawings of all the related parts associated with the TableMaster Fusion cabinet. The required tools needed to complete this assembly in the field. Step-by-step video instructions showing how to assemble and install the major components of the TableMaster Fusion cabinet, and important bolt pattern and video connection instructions pointed out during assembly. The required tools to assemble the TableMaster Fusion cabinet are a Phillips head screwdriver, a 1/4-inch ratchet, a 2.5mm T-handle Allen key, a 1/4-inch ratchet extension for your cordless drill, a 15mm socket, a 10mm socket, and a standard cordless drill. Before starting your assembly, please refer to the required tools page. When unpackaging the TableMaster Fusion kit, please ensure the hardware kit includes all of the items listed below. When the TableMaster Fusion cabinet assembly arrives at the property, the first thing that needs to be done is to ensure that all parts and related assemblies are there that are required to complete the assembly. Verification and logging of the TableMaster Fusion serial tag and verification of the 65-inch and 72-inch LCD part numbers will be a key step before any assembly can take place. Ensure that you have all the necessary tools shown in the video to correctly assemble the TableMaster Fusion cabinet. First, you must remove the foam insert and separate the top cabinet assembly, rear LCD bezel, and rear cover, as well as the front LCD bezel from the pallet so you can access the top cabinet assembly as seen here. Using two people, raise the top cabinet assembly onto the front base assembly as shown. Be sure when placing the top cabinet assembly onto the front base assembly that the top assembly light lens lines up with the back assembly light lens as shown here. Next, remove the removable locking cover that attaches to the back base assembly so you can access the bolt holes to secure the top cabinet assembly to the back base assembly as shown. Next, you will need to take the 8 bolts, nuts, and washers included in the hardware kit and attach the top assembly to the back base assembly as shown using a 1/4-inch ratchet with the 15mm socket. Please observe the correct placement of the bolts as shown here. Next step is to unbox the 65-inch LCD and turn it upside down on 2 pieces of foam as shown. Take the LCD bracket for the 65-inch LCD and attach it to the back of the LCD monitor as shown here. It is important to note that both the bracket for the 65-inch and 72-inch LCD monitors are zip-locked inside the top portion of the bottom base assembly when shipped from production. Using the 6 screws provided in the hardware kit, attach the 65-inch LCD bracket to the back of the monitor as shown here. Using 2 people, carefully lift the 65-inch LCD into position onto the top section of the bottom base assembly as shown. The next step shown is an underneath view showing you the 65-inch LCD in the correct placement location on the bottom base assembly. Next, unbox the 72-inch monitor and place it upside down onto 2 pieces of foam as shown so you can access the back of the monitor and install the 72-inch LCD bracket as shown using the 6 screws provided in the hardware kit. Once the bracket is secured to the LCD, using 2 people lifting the LCD and an additional 2 people on each side of the bottom base assembly and 1 more person at the back of the top LCD assembly, carefully lift the LCD as shown so it can be put into place using the keyhole slots onto the top base assembly. Ensure that the LCD bracket is securely in place before removing any support from holding the LCD. The LCD bracket can only fit one way, so it's important to ensure that all of the keyholes are hooked in and that the LCD is level. Next, plug the power cable and the HDMI cable into the bottom of the 72-inch top LCD as shown. Once the top LCD is mounted and video cables have been plugged in, the next step is to install the top LCD bezel as shown here. There are 4 screws on the top cabinet assembly that the bezel will hook into. When placing the top LCD bezel onto the top cabinet assembly, be sure that any cables or wires are tucked under the bezel so they do not get crimped once installed. From the back of the top cabinet assembly, connect the sound and video wires as shown. These wire harnesses will already be built and installed on the bottom cabinet assembly when received at the property. Next, install the 8-pin connector cable used to connect the top candle connection to the game engine. When installing the candle, ensure that the cables go into the pre-cut hole on top of the cabinet light lens and that the candle sits flush as shown. Once the candle is in place, use the screws included in the candle kit, secure the grounding strap and candle for the light from the bottom side of the top cabinet light lens using your fingers to get it started, and then tighten with a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, install the 8-pin connector cable used to connect the top candle connection to the game engine. This is included in the hardware kit. Feed the candle wire harness through the frame of the top cabinet assembly as shown, and attach the Molex connector to the candle extension cable. Feed the candle extension cable through the back cabinet assembly as shown, and run it through the cable outlet that is on the lower left-hand corner of the base cabinet assembly and connect it to the game engine PC that is in the first Mojo cabinet as shown here. Hook the pre-installed audio cables that are running through the wire outlet at the bottom left corner of the bottom base assembly into the Game Manager PC as shown. Once all the video and audio connections have been made, turn on the Game Manager PC that is inside the Game Engine Mojo and power up both the 65-inch and 72-inch LCDs. Once powered up, you should see the images as shown here. One of the final steps in assembling the Table Master Fusion cabinet is to install the glass on top of the 65-inch horizontal LCD. Be sure to use 3 people for this task, 1 on each end and 1 person in the middle, to ensure the weight of the glass does not buckle and break. Once the glass is in place, it should line up with the lip of the bottom cabinet assembly as shown. The next image shown is the main Game Engine Mojo that houses the Game Manager PC. A schematic of how the connection should be done on the Game Manager PC is attached inside the Game Engine Mojo as seen here. The next step in the process is to attach the filler pieces that will go between each of the 5 Mojos that make up the player stations. Please note the bolt hole locations and placement on the Mojo cabinet. The screws necessary to secure the fillers to each of the Mojo cabinets are included in the hardware kit, and they will require the 2.5mm Allen key to tighten. At this point, you have completed the assembly of the Table Master Fusion cabinet. If you have any further questions on the assembly of the Table Master Fusion cabinet, please contact product support.